And we're back with me, Johnny McMurray, on the On the Spot Football Podcast for yet another fantastic guest. Tonight's guest semi-looks like Santa Claus, and he's been around for probably about as long a time as him as well. It's my friend, Bertnal Thompson. Bertnal, how are you, sir?
Fine, Johnny. Doing well.
Mate, it's lovely to have you in.
Oh, great to be here.
It's good to see that you started growing the beard out for Christmas.
This is it. Getting ready.
How are you,
Only
sir?
a few months to go.
I know, that's it. Sure, it comes in nice and quick from all the films, you know.
All this work now for the next couple of months. Glad I'm retired from football.
Workshops broke. Mate, thank you very much for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've known each other for quite a long time.
Quite a long time.
But you've been around for a lot longer.
Oh, God, I've faced it forever, so it does, you know.
Well, you're 20, coming up to 29, coming up close to 30 years of Ballymena alone.
29, yeah.
It's as long as I've been alive, Paul. You know what I mean? Yeah.
There you are. I knew it was coming.
Mate, it's fantastic to have you in. I know you tune in most weeks, you listen to them, and I would get a wee message from you here and there. Some of them were brilliant.
Of course.
So, but no, it's fantastic. But how are you? It's retirement now?
Funny enough, yeah, it hasn't been as bad as I thought it'd been, Johnny.
Okay.
I thought, yes, I'm going to struggle here, but I didn't. And I have the grandchildren and that, and, Saturdays now, 2 of the grandchildren are learning to swim.
Okay.
So Saturday morning, into Larne, go to the swimming pool, take them out, and if I feel like going to a match on a Saturday afternoon, I go to one now. I'm not panicking and have to be left the house at 11 o'clock or 12 or something to get to a match and get all that has to do with it. It's brilliant there, just go with the flow. If, say Ballymena's away and I don't feel like going there, if Larne's at home or Carrick's at home, well, Carrick's 4 miles one way, Larne's 6 the other way. Because I just does anything, go and watch whoever they're playing.
Yeah.
That's if I want to.
Yeah.
So sometimes I don't.
It's nice to have the freedom. If the weather's crap, stick a feet up, go, do you know what, I'm not leaving.
It is, and obviously you have the iPlayer and you have an Apple TV, so even when I sit at home I can
watch them, man.
Watch a match on TV, watch a live match. I'm really enjoying it.
You can join me at 6 o'clock from here on out, and I'll be talking crap again.
I know. And Tuesday and a Thursday, 4 o'clock, I'm not leaving, or 3:30, not leaving the house to go up and get everything ready for training. I miss the people.
Yes, that's one of the biggest things.
Like yourself and the boys, not like they are the club, the players, and it's you do miss that. And funny, Alan was saying to me about a Tuesday and Thursday night coming in, I'd had biscuits and
because I always ran down
and all that there.
Nibbled at them in your office. Nobody knew.
A few of the directors would have come in and something like that there, when they sat and had a coffee and all. Like I never was one for going out with the players and training nights.
No, yeah.
I always stayed in and tidied up and going that thing. And especially in the last few years with gym, with the ice baths and all this, you were filling them. So you come in and you were filling them and make sure the ice machine was on and ready for it. So it kept you busy inside.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go out in the snow.
Didn't have to go out in the crap, did you? The weather was brutal. It always seemed to rain down here. At night, you're sitting going, come on.
I think that's
it was cold too. But
that's part of being a Ballymena person.
You're used to it. You've got your sheepskin coats and all.
Oh, that's
you know what I mean? We never had that.
And Mark out with shorts on. Middle of the snow.
The one thing I'd have to say to you, Bertnal, is you never had those biscuits quite well, because I dove in one every Tuesday and Thursday night.
You just left them out. Somebody found them.
Oh, God, I knew where they were every week. Fantastic. There's rocky roads in there.
There's everything.
There's everything. Wagon ways the heap.
Everything under the sun.
It was great.
Every other week I was calling on the way up and spending about 20 or 30 quid in biscuits.
I probably owe you a few quid for biscuits
you
now.
You probably do.
Do you know what I mean? Well, listen, as I say, it's fantastic to have you here. There's bound to be plenty of stories. I'm actually thoroughly looking forward to listening to the conversation on how everything managed to get there, because you've spent such a long time.
It's been a long road. Yeah, it definitely has.
How does it get started for you? Like, did you play it initially?
No,
just went straight in. Like, what leads you into going, I want to be a kitman?
Well, I wasn't actually. Our local village, when I was growing up, was a team called Nelson's. Okay. It's a local factory, and they played in the Ballymena Junior League, and I think they'd won a Junior Cup or Junior Shield in the 60s, and then they disbanded, and they formed a wee team of Hawkle, and my younger brother Derek played for him, but I never got enough to play. But I played one match. Well, I come on a sub.
Okay.
And it was a late great Billy Cathcart, Bumper Cathcart was the manager.
Okay.
And they were stuck for me. I just went and did the line and things like that there. And they were stuck for players out there running short, and Billy got me change. And I come on a sub. And that was my one and only competitive match. But I think the late great Billy
for getting you on the past the white lines.
I played.
Yeah.
But no, I never was. Derek was a footballer in our family, and I was happy enough with that. And I had took him to matches and things like that there and all. And then we had a wee team. He played for Connor the year they won the Junior Cup. It was 77, 78, I think. And then we started a wee team in the village in a Huckle. And after the first year, I left and I wasn't really interested. And then Bertnal, who are just 5 miles down the road, they had a team in what they call the South Derry Summer League.
Okay.
And there's a fella, Tommy Smith was the manager. Tommy played for Ballymena, Glenavon, Coleraine, and he signed Derry and that. And I went down and was standing. He says, I had a word with the board, Bertnal, would you be interested in coming and with us? And I said, well, all right. I said, and I was a man, Joe Law was the chairman at that time, and Joe had a yarn with me. And he says, would you come and help? I said, I certainly. So I was linesman, physio, at level of football you are.
What do you have as a physio? Just the bucket magic sponge?
That was it in the spray. That was your,
boys. Harden up, go on, get up.
Boys like me that there. Oh, you're all right.
Get on, mate.
You go, mate. But, that was it. And I was 10 years, I think, at Bertnal. And before I finished, I was chairman of the club.
Okay.
A great, some brilliant fellas down there, so they really were. And, and it's still friends for life, so, it's great. And that's what you do, you make friends for life.
You do?
At clubs, And so at that time, I was mixing it, and I travelled with a fella, Andy Scott. Andy was a scout for Linfield.
Okay.
So he says to me one day, he says, what are you doing? And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, Andy. I'm just taking life easy. He says, listen, Linfield are putting a team in the Ballymena Junior League. Well, I was treasurer of the league at that time, Ballymena League. And he says, they're going to be playing their home matches in Huckle. Would you be interested? I said, oh, well, it's, So he says, look, I'll have a word, he says, with them. And Harry Boyer was the manager at that time. And so I went up, and I can't mind, I wasn't Harry, I can't mind who it was I met, but I was introduced and all that there, and they said, would you be interested? I said, yeah, certainly, no problem. I was in a Huckle, I live in a Huckle, so,
on your doorstep.
On the doorstep. I said, that's brilliant. He says, right. And so the reason it was, Linfield, back then, you were semi-professional. You got paid, you were semi-professional. They had so many players in their books, and then they couldn't put a team in the amateur league for you weren't allowed to play professionals.
Okay.
And that year, so Andy had said to him about the Ballymena League, and that was what it was. And it was a man, Billy Rogers, he was the manager. So it was just him and me, just the two of us, and the team, and they put the team in it, and they ran it for 6 or 7 years. And Johnny, see some of the teams we had out.
Yeah.
Travelling up with me at that time, Linfield had been Big West Lamont, Darren Crawford, Nigel Boyd, and this young lad of 16 called Scotty Douglas.
Right, okay.
He was just starting out in his career, Scotty, and we had to travel up and down that. And there's days we had Big West. Darren was a normal keeper for the Athletic, but he also had Big West on odd day. You'd have had Joe McConnell, Jason Allen, Nigel Boyd, Pat McShane, Philip Nell. Even Desi Gorman played in that league with us. And boys, I made a boy, Paul McGee, who Linfield, I think, had paid something like 50,000 to Wimbledon for.
Right.
The boys were down here playing the Ballymena League. So, and the teams all loved it. They used their game, when they played us. And but I remember one time Ricky Wade, they signed Ricky Wade from Coleraine, and I think he did his cruciate, and his first game back, he came with us, and I'm going, what the hell? So I went to Terry Hayes and Brian Cassidy, the two physios at Linfield at the time, and I says, boys, what the hell's going on here? I'm not a physio. And Brian and the Terry Booth says, look, Bertnal, don't panic. If anything happens to anybody and you feel you don't want me to continue, you bring him off, you will never get any bowler from anybody at this club if you bring him off and be on the safe side.
Yeah.
Even if you end up getting beat, you will not get any bowler. And I always stuck with me. So we were playing Dervick, and it was Ricky's first game back. And after about 10 minutes, and then the tackle 50-50, and the yell went up and down he went in a heap. And I'm going, what am I going to do here? So I runs out and I said, Righty, what is it? He said, oh no, Bert, I'm okay. He said, I'm okay. He says, it was just a jar from the first, the tackle. And he says, and I got him up. I says, he says, no, I'm dead on. I'm brilliant. I'm dead on. And right enough he was.
Yeah.
But
panic sets in.
I loved it. All the first team players coming down and all that, and it was great. But I was on the sideline doing the line, and I was panicking.
Yeah.
Anybody gets hurt, And the two main physios were the first team in the Swifts. But listen, I had 6 great years at Linfield, and it was brilliant. I loved it. Said that, and great people.
Yeah.
Fantastic. They're right. They're the most professional club in the country. I mean, they are up there, way ahead of everybody else, and especially back then.
Yeah.
So it was, and it really was. It was a great time. I loved it.
One thing I have to ask you is you had a young Scotty Douglas in there, and he's as mad as a hatter now. He has been through his own career, but at 16.
He was in.
Same person, same character.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
I think he nearly sent home one time from Southampton, a youth tournament or something. I never have full details. He'd probably kill me when he sees it. But he was great.
Yeah.
What a kid.
It's nice to have the characters,
isn't it? You can't help
it?
it, like Scotty. He's one of those people, just, isn't he? He's incredible.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
But what a career he's had. Fantastic. He really
Fantastic,
has.
Absolutely.
Oh, unbelievable.
Across the board, and he's still got it, I'm sure.
Oh,
if he wanted to play, he would play until he was, 40? 41?
God, yeah.
God, he could have still won.
Oh, no. He's a great kid, Scotty. Definitely is. No lies.
So when you're talking about transitioning from a physio, which you probably should never have been in the first place, and somehow find yourself into becoming a kit man, how does that work?
Well, I see, that was part of my duty.
You were doing that as well.
I was doing that at Linfield. I went up on a Thursday night and got the kit ready for Saturday.
Okay.
And it was like, I always tell the story, like the late David Tibbs. He was a kit man at Linfield as well, along with Gary and all that. And Tibbsy was, when he Tibbsy and says, Tibbsy, I need a pair of socks. Okay, Martin. So that was the old dressing rooms across, and so we went up the stairs, and he had all these wee cupboards and padlocks on them. So Tibbsy had and Hamilton, 1 sock, 2 socks, and that was that.
Right and left.
You got your 2 socks, and that was it. But that was, and that bastard thing, I did it at Portland Owen and I did it at Linfield. That was part of parts. So it was just a progression. That's just the way it was. It's just part of your job.
Yeah.
At level of football, and it's happening every day.
Yeah. All
around the country. At all
different
levels,
clubs,
junior levels, and all that. Where one man will do kit, do the line, and do physio. That's just part and parcel of the game. That's how you get to know things and progress as you go along.
So whenever you're doing that, are you doing that with Gary Eccles?
No, Gary was with the first team.
So you were just kind of working together, but you had your own
team. Gary was the first team. I can't mind off with David. I can't mind the fellas who was with the Swifts, and then I was with the Athletic. You had your own team. You soon you up on a Thursday night, you got your
stuff ready,
your gear ready. And back then, you see, the first team players had their own, had their boots. Mm-hmm. So you had to take the boots with you as well.
Okay.
And I remember we were playing at Dalgorm. So we were staying. I can't remember who we were playing, and Desi Gordon was playing. So I had the boots down and I had them out in the house. Sort of make sure they're drying on Saturday night. So I went down to get the boots. So I was going down there early in the morning to hang everything up, and I thought, where's Desi's boots? Can I find these boots anywhere? Where the hell is this boots at? So panic sets in, and I'm through everything. Back down to the place to make sure I thought I left it. I where's his boots at? So I come back up home panicking, and I said, and my son Neil comes in. He had formed a wee team in the village, a Hull Thistle, and he says, these boots. I said, what the hell? I said, where'd you get boots? This is sitting there. It's just I thought they were mine. I said, but Desi Gorman's boots. Seen the state of them. I was it must have been a proud feel. I said, my God. So I washed them, cleaned them, and done all the rest, and took them down. And I says, what am I going to say to Desi when he comes in here? And so he came in and I says, Desi, can I have a word? What is it, Bertnal? I says, my son lifted your boots in the States more than played in them. So what? I says, the stuff. Bertnal, don't worry about it. He says,
Yeah.
I says, this is anything you can say he played in Desi Gorman's boots. And he was brilliant about it, and he was a professional and all that. He could just have went to early, but he was brilliant about it, But I say, we had great times. And back then, the home team always had a base, and you took the opposition back to. And we went back to in the village of the Fairhill Bar, and it was only about 4 doors down from where I lived.
Okay.
And my mother worked in it part time. So when we came back on the Saturdays, he had sandwiches and soup and all that. And honestly, that's why most of the first team players wanted to play in there.
You get well looked after.
Get well looked home and away. You get well looked after,
Yeah.
And but it was good, and it was I'm glad teams sort of do that now. You're not just rushing away 2 minutes after the match is over.
Have a beer or whatever it is. Yeah.
But no, I really loved it.
Did you see the professionalism change as soon as you went to Linfield, even though you were 18s? Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So professional in everything they do. So professional in everything they do is unbelievable. It really was. And that was part of when the story of me leaving Linfield, he come to Ballymena. As I tell you, the first man that got me, Tony Smith. I always say there's 3 people got me to where I am today. The second was Big D, Darren Crawford.
Okay.
So Darren travelled with me every night, and we're going up this. It was a Tuesday night. He says, Ballymena's looking for a physio or a kit man. You interested? I said, no, see, I'm already here. He says, oh, come on. And he, in the year, whole way up, whole way home again. Thursday night, he said, Ballymena's still after a kit man. I said, Darren, I don't know. He said, oh, come on, sure, you may as well. But what you do, go and ask. It's Don Sterling. Sure, you know Don. I said, I do. He says, well, go down and say you don't. There's no harm done if you don't get it. I said, well, all right, I'll go tomorrow. So on the Friday, I went down and seen Dawn. He said, certainly, Bertnal, I'll put your name down. I'll give you a ring in a few days. So Dawn rang me on the Monday, and he says, can you come up tomorrow night? I said, well, I can. I'll tell the boys to try and get someone that can take their car in the morning, 80 training at Linfield. And he says, right, be up, say 7 o'clock. I stayed on, so that was the old dressing rooms across the way. Okay. Where the security tower is. And I went in through the doors, and somebody says, I'm up here to speak to the manager. He says, oh, he's in there with somebody. He says, did you just stand there? He'll be out in a minute. So I'm standing, the door opens, and he walks out with Darren. He had been up and signed. So then I goes, and Alan, he says to me, he says, and where are you at the minute? I said, well, I'm at Linfield. Oh, you're at Linfield? He says, right, he says, I've been trying to get this club to be as professional as Linfield. And he says, that's what I want. And he says, you know how professional Linfield are? I said, definitely. I says, they're unbelievable. And he says, right, yes, I want you for the job, but he says, I can't give it to you. He says, I'll have to go up and speak to the board. They're having a meeting tonight. Okay. And have a word with them. I said, all right. I said, not a problem. So and we're sitting in the dressing room, and the next day he comes in, and Edmund McLaughlin, Edmund was the chairman then. And Edmund went, oh, Bertnal, how are you? I said, Edmund, doing the best. So he says, you thinking about coming and joining us? I said, well, maybe, hopefully, yes. And so Alan says, look, I'm away at your training. He says, I said, you're in the business. And we sat and chatted and discussed wages, and that was £25 a week. Yeah. And he says, are you happy to come? I says, I'm more than happy, Edmund. And we shook hands, and that was it. That was me at Ballymena.
It's always nice when you know somebody.
Oh, well, that's it.
Bit of you, everybody.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I've known Edmund for years. He had played for Harryhill Amateurs and that, be at fullback, and so that was me at Ballymena. And, and at that time, I was nearly in our Linfield homecoming for, then Nigel Boyd had joined Ballymena. Jason Allen, John McConnell, And then, but once Philip Neal arrived, same as old boys that had been at Linfield, when I was there. So it was good. And then you'd check in with you'd wee Daisy. So you had Barry Patton, Busty. You had some great characters in that first team. But it was different from anything I'd known.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Ballymena, which I hadn't been told for that, right, was you did nearly everything. Right, you went in and got the teas ready for half time. So you left the dugout about 15 minutes before half time and did that. You looked after the floodlights, and back then it was coins.
Right.
You put tokens in. See, that's why I went and got tokens from
like
the
back
lasers.
on TV, remember?
Oh, that's a service that you TV. And you had these tokens, you put them in. I used to panic, especially a cup match.
Guess it was extra time.
But see, if they went out, it took about 15 minutes for them to warm up again.
Right.
But so I'm going, have I got enough tokens in here? What am I like? And you always night matches, you always panicked.
Yeah.
If it's a league match, not a problem. You could work it out. But that was just a talk. So not only that, then you brushed and washed out the dressing rooms and the baths. It was the baths then, it wasn't showers. And plus you tidied up everywhere else.
Yeah.
You mopped and tidied the foyer and
that 25 quid doesn't really cover you though.
ladies' toilets and the gents' toilets outside, and you hoovered the boardroom and things like that there, and the players' lounge, and you did all them things.
Yeah.
And there's nights I wasn't leaving maybe 7 or half 7 by the time I had having washed and brushed and the baths all washed out and stuff like that there. That really was. They
left that off
you weren't told
the application anyway.
They left that out. I'll have to word by the next time I see him. But listen, you just go on with it. I thought nothing of it. But on the other hand, Johnny, away match, you had the kit, the water balls, and footballs.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
There were no warm up gear and none of all that other stuff that we do have now. Mm-hmm. I had 3 bays, and I used to all the way matches I went with David Blair. David was a director, and David took me in the Jeep, and it was usually him and me and Darren and Paul Muir. So there was. I think for us travelling all the away matches, that's it.
Yeah.
You had nothing compared to what you have.
You had a van now, and you were taking boots, but warm up jackets, quarter zips.
11 or 12 bags in it.
Yeah.
You have to offload them. In the place like Cliftonville, we went to Cliftonville one night, and I was there early, and the van, I put on that, it's a Strava, that thing that tells you the distance you travel.
Yeah.
So I put that on just for the fun of it. And I started, we had to walk down the side, you weren't really on the pitch at Cliftonville. So I'd down the side, having big, and I'd say 1.1 miles. That's what it took for me to offload the van and get into the dressing room. And then I had to start and get everything hung up. 1.1 miles. Mad.
Get your steps in anyway.
Aye, but I loved it in the way it progressed, and Alan was a great manager, so he was. It all were. Every manager I've had at Ballymena, I couldn't say anything bad about any of them.
Right.
None of them.
Good.
They all had their different things and that.
But then again, also it kind of. Obviously, I was there with you for 7 years, 6, 7 years, and you got to say, when somebody does their job well, you're never ever going to get complaints.
No,
do you know what I mean?
No,
because there was never really, very rarely, you forgot
Mm-hmm.
anything or you left something behind.
That's what I say.
Do you know what I mean? So
Alan, the say when I went, we were in the first division, and we won it that year. That's I say it's 30 years now.
So that was your first year.
That was my first year.
You're probably thinking, I've come in here at a good time. We've just won the first division.
Well, they hadn't at that time. They won it on the February. So I've been there about 3 months or 4 months from the time got over the line. And
you're thinking you're the good luck charm.
Oh, yes. So for the prize for winning the league was 2 nights in the Macra Boy in Port Rush for the whole squad. so it was, and Alan, he worked for Guinness. So I think he had got arrangements for the Harvard Bar for a keg.
Yes, okay.
For us, a keg. And it was brilliant. We had 2 great nights in it, so we had a good laugh and that early. And that thing, the tea thing and the bike for the boys in the handler bar. Well, in their fitness room, McAvoy goes to the bike. So I can't mind who got on the handlebars, and then Neller he got on pedaling. ET phone home, blocked.
Just good fun.
That was a good weekend. But
yes,
that's what you got for winning the league.
See, whenever you transition into becoming the first team manager of like the kit, and it's just solely your job now. You're not worried about anything else.
Oh no, I've always no.
But was it different going from? Did you expect it to be what it was in terms of trying to implement professionalism in Ballymena that wasn't there? To doing what you wanted to do to try and replicate Linfield?
Yeah. Oh, well, you did. Yes, of course you did. And unfortunately, you didn't have the resources or the equipment to do that. Linfield had all these things, so that, and the process around that money wasn't an object. If they needed things, they got it. When I first came to Ballymena, like I say, there's no warm-up gear, nothing like that there. And it wasn't long after I was there that we got tracksuits.
Okay. For match days, you mean?
For match days.
Okay.
We got tracksuits now for match days, and that was a wee bit of a more professional. And then as time went on, we got training gear.
And are these things that you wanted to implement that the club hadn't done?
Well,
was it a fight for you?
Alan had went a long way with doing that. So he was wanting this professionalism brought to the club, so he as well was pushing to get these things done to make us more professional.
Yeah.
And I say over maybe the 2 years that Alan was there when I came, we had got quite a lot of stuff more professional about the club. And doing things like that, like warm up gear and stuff like that there, and even the training needs was a mishmash of stuff. It was unbelievable. Like, it was you just wore anything. Like, even me when I went, I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
There was nothing for me in the match day.
Just a bootcut jeans.
Just basically just wore what you had. You maybe put yourself a pair of bottoms or something, and that was it. You just sort of wore what you wanted. But it did become more professional as we went along, and that era. And then they say Alan, I think it was our first year back. We were outstanding for the first half of the season.
Yeah.
We played a 4-5-1 formation. Desi in one wing, Neil Canley snore, and Barry Patton up front. I think Barry scored 24, 25 goals up to Christmas.
Yeah.
Top of the league. That's the year Cliftonville won the league.
Right.
And we beat them 3 times.
Right, okay.
But come Christmas, the club bought Glenn Hunter, some Crusaders. So that meant to accommodate Glenn, he had to change. So we went to a 4-4-2, and we just... The change of formation just didn't work.
It didn't work for Glenn.
No.
Because I remember having Alan on, Alan was talking about it, and he was saying that it suited one side, but high profile signing a goal scorer.
You're going to have
just
to play
didn't fit. He wanted the 2.
Yeah. That's 2. And that was just sort of, and the day Alan got, I have to say, sacked. Can't believe it, the Glens had won the league the week before, and they come down to us, a lovely sunny day, and with about 20 minutes to go, we were beating 4-5 or something, 5-2 or something. They opened the security gates and the barriers and all that, and they opened all in, everybody piled out round the track, and it was great, a great atmosphere, and the fans ran among each other, chatting and games and all that there, and we were all in the dressing room, and Alan went in his office, him and Eric, and the next thing Eric came in, he says, boys, you've just been sacked. And Pete Jones, what? He says, we've just been sacked. And that's the first time, Johnny, I had been in a situation where I had where a manager had been sacked. Junior level and all that there. Managers just left, or you never had anybody sacked, anything like that. And I really was, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was standing there and I didn't know what did I say anything and it really did. It hit me for quite a few days, and that was weird. And then Nigel came in, so he did that summer. Nigel Best. Nigel had all that success at Bangor and not so much at Glenavon, but and he came in, and I just think it just didn't work for Nigel, unfortunately. The first season we avoided relegation. The very last match of the season at Portadown, we went from 10th to 8th. We beat Portadown at Portadown, and it saved their hide.
Yeah.
And then Nigel was away by a Christmas. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. My father-in-law had passed away, and I was off. I got the phone call. He said Nigel had gone, you know. And I was, that's the only bit. The club appointed George McGill. He was a physio as interim manager.
Okay.
You know, and I thought that was all the time for Joe McCall was in. Joe had every budget as possible. And you know, and I here again I was promoted again to physio. And the first match was New Year's Day at Glenavon, and I went down. I can't even who it was got hurt out in the field, so I runs on. And I looked up and said, "Can I curse?"
No, you can do whatever you want.
He says, "Bertnal, what the f*** are you doing? Where's George?" I says, "He's all there." But I says, if you're really bad, they'd come out. I said, "But you know, why are you dead on?" So I was physio for a month. George was manager, and so I was physio and Catman, but only got the one wage. I can't understand that.
They didn't.
No, I didn't give me the 2 wages.
People taking advantage of it.
I was So Kenny was appointed. So it's then come Kenny, and this is the third person in my football journey who's helped get me where I am today. But when Kenny came in, Kenny was manager of the under-17s, Northern Under-17s, and they're in a wee group with Russia and Germany, so they were. And he says, "We have no kit man. Could you come with us? Do you kit?" I says, "Aye." He says, "I'll arrange it with the club and that. You know, we'll sort things out."
Yeah.
I said, "Right, dead on." So my first trip with them was back in. The groups played home and away, so they did. So we ran with Russia and Germany. There's only 3 of us in the group. So we hear this: fly to Germany, then fly to Russia, play Russia, then fly back to Germany and play Germany. What was that all about? Right. But anyway, so get to Russia, and we were training. This wee man came in this day, and we were training. And he's good English, he was Russian. And he says, "We're Northern." He said, "Oh, they name all the teams in the Irish League and their managers."
Right.
And some of the boys said, "Well, it's the Ballymena manager, Kenny Seal." "Oh, well." So that was all right. He says, "Moscow Dynamo are just playing Roma. Would you like to go to the match?" He said, "Certainly, leave it with me." So that day, we went for a tour around the Kremlin. This, you know, and here's Roma. They were walking around too, and they'll come over and start chatting. The boys were used to seeing the kits and tracksuits and that, and started. And Batistuta was playing for him at that time.
Right.
And I have a photo in the house of myself and some of the boys and Raymond Kennedy with Batistuta.
Class.
And the Roma boys were on their shouting. I was, "No, I talked to the kids," and he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He stayed on and talked to the kids and all that. And that night, we went to the ground, and waited in the bus. Then they got us out, and you know, the soldiers and all that, and the guns, and they escorted us in. And like, what was it, 60,000 seater stadium, and maybe about 20,000 in it. And the says, "The 3 bonds out of row of seats," put us in, tossed them out.
Just moved everybody in.
Moved everybody.
Chaperone.
Put us in, and but it was great. We got the backroom staff got into the interviews, you know, after the match with the managers and that, and these big Europa League thing pictures.
Right.
Oh, it was great, like the staff, and that was there. But in that group, you had William McFrederick and Lee Windrum were the 2 goalkeepers. Steve Davis, Dean Shields, Albert Watson, and the skipper Jim Irvin.
Yeah.
Sammy Morrow. Off the top of my head, that's, you know,
This bunch who stand out, do you?
Conal Morta. My boys, that's who was in that, and that's where I first met Jim.
Yeah.
On that trip to
Cool.
Russia. So played Russia, and I think we beat 3-0 or something, 4-0. Went to Germany, and SB Hotel. First thing you do is you get all the boys sorted into rooms and all that there, and then the staff look after themselves. You get me a kit room, so I get everything sorted. So the boys knocked, and next thing, the whole lot must have tried to pile into the lift.
Right.
The lift broke.
Okay.
And the panic, they ripped the door off the lift. They actually ripped the doors out of the lift.
That was probably Big Albert.
It probably was. The panic.
Big Albert says he is now, probably 15.
And the
Wipe
panic.
the door out.
They pulled the door out. I don't know how much it cost to fix it. Anyway, so we of course, back then the kids, like, you know, it's like in Europe, like, you have adult shops.
Yes.
You know, and all that. The kids would go, there's a purse shop down there. And it was all coming. And then it was Kenny was manager, Jim Grattan was his assistant, Dr. Chris Kyle, the late Dr. Chris Kyle, who's Glentoran doctor, he was a doctor, and a fella Ian Lynch, Uri Town as it was then, he was the physio, and me.
Nice.
It's 4 of us.
And did you stay there for quite a long period of time while he was the Northern Ireland manager?
Years. I was there 13 years. But I say, we went to Germany, and that was where we went to the match, and that's wee stadium. And I swear, there must have been 3,000 or 4,000 at it.
Yeah.
And another fella, that's right, it was 0-0 into the last minute, and Big Emmett Thyers got hurt and had to go off. And while he was off, he got a corner and scored, beats 1-0. Last man scored it. You know, but that's what. And then after that, it went into, you had 4 teams, and one of the teams hosted the tournament. And now, don't forget, Kenny had taken over in 1999. I think the under 17s were about 42nd or 43rd in Europe.
Yeah.
And in 2004, we reached the finals in France.
Right.
And had been up to about 11th or 12th in Europe. That's how much progress we had made in 5 years. See, as a youth coach, nothing to touch him.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
He really, he was incredible. He really was.
But he's went on to have a fantastic career as well, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
well, that's Irish League or Scotland.
Mm-hmm. You know, and we go to the finals in France, and we were in the group. We were with France, Spain, and Turkey.
Right.
So we were. And we were staying at the hotel. So first match was France, and the pin-up boy then was Ben Arthur.
Okay, yeah.
And when he played for Newcastle, he was their pin-up boy. And I think Benjamin or some of them boys were all in that time, and Conte were all in that 17, but he was a pin-up boy.
Yeah.
And that was, he played 80 minutes, and like after 70 it was 0-0, and we boys with us, Andrew Rosbaugh, McGoo, they call him for the world glasses. A brilliant kid. He hit a thing against the crossbar and came back like a rocket. And it was Michael O'Connor had the rebound, and the keeper saved it, threw it out. A lot of field scored 1-0. Then they scored an orange just a minute ago. So we beat 2-0. So that was all right. Happy enough to the wear. And the second match with Spain. So the night before it, Liam Brady, for Dean was at Arsenal that time. Mm-hmm. Liam came to have supper with us, and we were sitting chatting. He says, Kenny, the wee boy playing tomorrow against you. He says, we've just signed him from Barcelona. He says, a young boy Fabregas. He says, he's going to be a brilliant player. He says, keep an eye out for him. So that was how we played Spain, and young fella Johnny McMurray, that was a Ballymena. Johnny was tasked to mark Fabregas, you know, right? And Johnny, I'm not a great, but I could tell. Yeah. Even I could tell he was just something else. And the Atlas lettered by future international, the Spanish team that day. Mm-hmm. So anyway, beat us 3 or something out there. So they did. And after the match, on the way home, the bus, Jim Grant sees up, he's Johnny. Well, Johnny, what about Martin Fabregas? He says, me, Jim, he says, I went to tackle him one time. He says, the time I got my foot in, he's 10 yards up the field. But you know something? As I say to people, he can say something nobody else can. 100%. He marked Fabregas.
But you got to think about that too. Like, Fabregas is one of, like, he went to Arsenal, 17, 18.
Yeah.
He wasn't supposed to leave Barcelona.
No.
And then he played first team football pretty much as soon as he arrived.
You know, that's what I always say to people. Johnny got an odd first game with us at Ballymena.
Yeah.
And there he was. He can turn around and say to his child and his grandson, yeah, I marked him.
You know, there's probably some photos along the way that
probably is, there probably are photos.
Absolutely.
And then the third match was Turkey, and they beat us as well. We lost all 3 matches, but
it's the fact that you got there.
Experience, you know, and the boys loved it. Police escorts to all the matches, stopping the roads and the traffic, you know, and there's kids loved it. So they did, you know, and it was a brilliant week. So it was, it really was. And I say there's the 4 of us in the backroom staff, and that was it, you know. and we had always some great times.
Yeah.
And when you're away, Kelly always made the boys. They always had a fun night. The last night they had, we all come down after the eating. We got a room and did something and all that there, played games or something and had a chat and kept them. And they always said, before you gave them out their kits, they got their kits the last match. And he always said to them, he says, listen boys, especially these boys in England and Scotland, wherever it is, and he says, the vast majority are with Premiership clubs. And he says, if you don't make it, he says, don't let that put you off. He says, even if you're doing into the Championship, the first or second division, you can still make a hell of a living.
Yeah.
Don't just because Man United or Arsenal or somebody rejects you. He says, you can still, and Dixie proved Dixie moved to Scotland.
It doesn't matter where we
Hibs,
go.
Rangers, and there's other people that's in it. And I always thought that was great advice from him, but Kenny was just football.
Yeah.
Every night, once you got the kids to bed, into the bedroom, and the first thing you did after you got the kids when you arrived at a place, wherever your base was, I went with somebody down to the local supermarket and 3 bevies and crisps, nuts and all that, and that was on the book. So maybe about 2 beer each a night, and the only chat about was football. Kenny wouldn't leave the TV or anything on that.
No.
It was all football, and his knowledge.
Yeah.
His knowledge was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And like when Kenny first came, we had been relegated to the Championship, or First Division it was then, and we spent 2 years there, so we did, But he brought some great players in that time, like he got Peter Bertnal in, so he did, and he brought Shea, from Armagh, and he brought in big Gary Smith from Glentoran. Who else? He brought Kieran Donaghy, Tim McCann, to name a few, like good experienced players. And he had what do you call him, from North Forest, Nigel Jimson.
Okay.
He had him over. He spent a year with us too. Like he definitely did. And he mixed it. I mean, Albert said one time that year. Like Albert made his debut for Ballymena. Was he 16 or something?
No.
And that year, he's just playing alongside Gary Smith. Was find him.
Yeah.
He says, Gary. He says he talk. Tell me where to go, position me and everything. He says that was brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's I say, 2 years there, and we came up, and it's just a hard league to come back up into. So it was, and we got to Europe through the back door. I was under 2-2 Cup then.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened. The Stalley should have been in, and they did something wrong with their paperwork or something. I just can't mind what it was. But Ballymena then got in their place, and we played Old Dance.
So his first year back in the Premiership, you just qualified for Europe?
We qualified in our 2-2 Cup. It was, I think it still finished about 7th or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what way it worked, but, and we played Old Dance, went out there, and Oran was playing at this time, of course, and Gussie Robertson was in goals, and we drew 0-0 with them out there. They played in our number 2 pitch.
Yeah.
Then the wee grandstand, Ermian Arena was dug up. We were getting under soil heating, and so we played 0-0. This is it. This is where we're home. Villarreal in the next round.
Yeah,
that's who you were getting.
You're looking ahead already.
In there, so back to Ballymena, and but after the match, we're all sitting. We were just old track suits and that, and sitting in. The next thing, the opposition, they come in after the shower and all that in this room, all suits, and their shirts had the Carlsberg motif on that fast who their sponsor was, and we're going, right. So that was all right. That night, went out on the town that night, and Joe, sitting on something like that, stool like that. If he fell off it once, he fell off it 3 times.
Right.
Both just straight back. Oh, so that's the assistant manager. I tell you, disgraceful. And so home we come, and all full of it, we drew 0-0, and Villarreal the next round. This is going to be brilliant. Beat 6-0. They hadn't their 2 centre forwards on the first leg.
Yeah.
That boy scored 4. He had a thing for about 40 yards. Guess he was still
looking at it.
down here for a bump.
Yeah.
So much for Flannery. But then the year Kenny was let go, we actually got to the semi-final. That's the year Larden beat us 1-0. And we pummeled him. And Alex Speckman never had a game like that in his life. All he had some goals for him. And Jeff Hughes, I would keep Jeff going about it yet.
Yeah.
Kieran was storing through into the penalty box and Jeff stuck out his leg. Or no, Kieran stuck his leg and Jeff. He got a penalty. He got the penalty and scored it 1-0.
1-0. Done.
That was it.
Was that the Oval?
Yeah. Put it down and then beat in the final, so that.
Yeah.
And then Kenny left that summer, and then came Tommy. And well, I have to say for him, one of the first things he did was getting a pay rise.
Very good.
So it went from £25 a week to £35 a week.
Nice. That helps.
But at that time we were across the way, so I didn't have to wash out dressing rooms and all that.
Right.
So that was a lot better, you know.
And was there a big change in the two management styles between Kenny and
yes,
Tommy?
there was, you know, like, there definitely was. And I wouldn't say Tommy was more defensive minded because he's a goalkeeper. He wasn't. One of the first people he bought was Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin Kilby. And Kevin probably told himself, first time I seen Kevin, I says, what the f*** does Tommy off his mind? He needed, he was being straight on it at the time.
Yeah.
But what a player he turned
out
to be.
Well, that's true.
And a great fella, great mate. Honestly, a great kid. He really has. But what a right. And did we go 1-0 up that night? It was a Seaview and it bucketed it. It's Cunningham Shield final and it bucketed it. I think the Orange scored their goal, their first, and Glenn scored the winner. Beat us 2-1. They did. And we had, you know, we got times with Tommy. We went to Scotland a couple of times to Stranraer and, you know, spent the weekend.
3 trips, yeah.
And I don't know what it is, Johnny, but we just seem to be a team mid-table.
Yeah.
We just never seem to get, you know,
kick on up,
you know, up the ladder. And Tommy had 4 good years. Jim was his assistant manager, so he was. And again, it was just, we just didn't seem to be, you know, able to punch. You know, like we've always done.
Yeah.
We could go out and beat Linfield, Glentoran and all that, but then the teams down around you, you're going to beat.
You're able to lift the game and then.
That's what I say, you're always able to lift against the top teams. So Tommy left. I think did he get a job in Linfield or somewhere? He left. And Roy came in, Roy Walker. And Jim stayed on as his assistant. And again, Roy had about 3 or 4 years. We got a couple of semi-finals. We got beaten penalties. We put it down in the semi-final. And Roy, once again, see a different style of management. And he brought in likes of, who else? Who did he bring in? He brought in quite a lot of boys. Nathan McConnell and things like that. And then we Wes Gregg.
Okay.
Wes was a coach, brilliant, fantastic. He was, and we were punching above our weight with him. So we were, and Wes left to go to Korean, which was his hometown club, you know. And God rest him, passed away not long after. You know, brilliant, one of the nicest people you could ever meet. So Wes really was, and we never seemed to recover from him going.
Yeah. And
then Roy, he called us in one night and he says, look, I made a decision at the beginning of December. We lost more matches than we won this month. I was walking away and it just got beat by somebody that night. It was a midnight match and it was in the chairman was there and he said, look, that's it, I'm leaving. He says, I made the promise that if I didn't, you know, but we have 2 matches left. He says, it doesn't matter, we've lost 2 and that was a cup match. That's 3 matches I've lost. So I can't even equal that. Yeah. And what's left this month. And, you know, and fair play to him. He was a man of his word. And I always respect him for that. And, you know, they begged him, so they did.
It's a strange decision if he hasn't really had that pressure put on him to leave.
No, well, the fans had been giving him a lot of abuse. And his daughter was there one night who was, I think she was pregnant at the time or something. And, right. You know, she'd got a lot of abuse too. And Roy being the Christian man he couldn't his family
It's
and
not
everything
getting
to him.
Yeah,
You know, and he did what he felt was the honourable thing to do.
yeah.
You know, and he left, and then we got Glenn, and it was still great times with Glenn. It was 4 finals in 4 years.
Yeah.
2 Crown Army Shields, the League Cup, and the
Irish Cup.
Irish Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, it was a real, but league wise, just the usual, struggling about half of the league, and you know, and so it was, and Julie was just. I felt sorry for Glenn. You know, I felt sorry that was his only dig at management.
Yeah.
You know,
Considering what he's got
yeah,
to, do you know what I mean?
I felt he should have went on ahead, and you know, he should really just let's forget about Ballymena.
Go somewhere else.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, don't do that. And I was always hurt me that way. Said that he didn't get another job in football.
Yeah.
You know, and I say he left, and then David came in, and well, you're part of it, and
that was a change, wasn't it?
What 7 years we've had. Like.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. 7 finals in 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, but all right, I know we've only won one, but you know, the Linfield final, pulverised him.
Yeah.
And they beat us 1-0. You know, and but David coming in was the Linfield thing again. Professionalism.
But did you feel a big shift? So obviously you've experienced quite a few things at Ballymena over the time. You've had 4 or 5 different managers.
Oh yeah.
Was David very different? And
I'll tell you the truth. Well, that professionalism from the minute he came in, you know, because of the Linfield situation.
Yeah.
Him and Brian, and you know, and once again, David came in. One of the first things he did, pay raise. So went from 35 to 50.
See, it gets a kit man on board, doesn't it?
Get a kit man on board. Well, I always say a kit man's the most important man. So, but no, and I got a fan and all that. But David's professionalism is unbelievable. You know that. You rarely. He's incredible. And that year we finished second. I still maintain to people, if the money hadn't come into the Irish League at that time, David would have won us the league.
Yeah, 100%.
He definitely would. No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
He would have won us the league because the money came in. We lost you, Adam, Jude. You know, all the players we lost that summer.
Yeah.
We lost about 7 players to full-time football.
Yeah.
You know, and and he had him turn around and try and rebuild the team. And I'm not going to criticise any player he brought in because they're better than me.
Yeah, no.
And I would never, you know, but they weren't the calibre of the likes of you, Bushy, you know, and them boys in Big Adam and that. You know, so it was one of hiding you nothing to a certain extent, you know, to fulfil that. Like, you know, we went from second to 10th
in
the season, whereas we should have been going from second to first.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I honestly believe that year he finished second. We had Linfield were 7 points ahead of us, and we had 2 matches in hand.
But
and the third match was Linfield, and we had 1 point in Glentoran at home, and they beat us in both those matches. So that meant we were still the 7 points behind Linfield.
Yeah.
Whereas we had been down to that Linfield match a point behind, and that would have gave us, I think, the momentum
to go
above them.
Because we played them at home.
We did. We played them at home.
Yeah.
Those 3 matches were at home, and that was just, I think, a lot of
because we scored.
Experience.
I remember being as the 1 point game. I actually scored. We went 1-0 up, and then we were like, because we were flying. Do you know when you're that confident?
Unbelievable.
Started off, scored from a corner, and then it was like we just stopped. Like nothing happened. It was just us done. And
I know. They just come out and droves and droves.
They just battered us.
Oh, hey. I say that was just maybe did we not have enough experienced players with.
Maybe this drives you across. We had to like
get you over the line.
You kind of just really had Jim at that stage, didn't you?
We had Jim was only
probably the only
one
person
at that time that had 1 league titles.
Near enough, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it was probably was. Yeah, you're right. It probably was just Jim, you know, and it was just part of me feels sorry for David after that because, you know, we finished 10th and 10th, you know, and then 9th or something. You win the. And it wasn't...
Because even the first 2 years when we were there, you kind of feel like Ballymena were a cup team. Do you know what I mean?
Always regarded as a cup team.
The first year we finished 6th. Did we qualify? I think did we qualify for Europe?
I mean, David came in Was it the first year? No, it wasn't. Maybe it was
Second year.
Second or third year. When David came in, we were in the relegation zone.
The first 6 months, yes, because I was at Warren Point at that stage.
When we
Yes.
had about, I think he had about 8 matches.
Yeah.
When he came in, and his motivation, you know it.
Yeah.
Gee, like, he can make me feel like I was Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He really could. He's unbelievable.
Psychologically, the
Yes,
fella knows
incredible.
how to.
And like,
Yeah.
we won was 7 of them last 8 matches, and stayed up. You know, and that's the boys that couldn't win a match. They saved their life.
Yeah.
And he just turned them round, and you know,
There's
like,
something to say about somebody who is that successful.
oof,
You buy into.
of course you do.
Do you know what I mean? And then you believe in what they tell you. Near enough, because you're like, he's won this. I have to. Like he's right. Do you know?
David said to you, like, go ahead through that wall there.
You would have.
You'd have made an effort at it, wouldn't you?
100%.
You know, and like, and I always loved his professionalism, especially in the dressing room. And were you there at the time he played Rangers?
No.
So we're sitting, no, the staff sat on the right wall. So I'm sitting there in the toilets, you know, and Judd sitting at the very last seat there, and David's giving his talk. And you know that you didn't interrupt David in his team talks. A week's wages are out the door, you know, stand in the corridor. So next thing, Judd disappeared in the toilets. So I'm sitting, I see him, and I go, oh my God. So I said, and I don't start doing Celtic talk on. Yes. So of course all the boys down home, they started to laugh, burst out laughing, and David turned around and looked. And he looked at us in the bedroom and he went. But Judd, just Judd.
Do you know what? There's certain characters, and I think like certain people get away with certain things.
Yeah.
And if you have that relationship with him, not that he doesn't favouritize anybody.
No.
But there's certain people that have
he
a
just had
personality,
that with Judd, didn't
and he understands exactly what you need.
You know, Judd with Judd and that, and he was
Fantastic.
There's
There's so many stories between that period where I feel like David took a lot in terms of like he had to manage quite a brief bit.
He had quite a few different. I won't call it. It's not egos.
No.
It was just personalities and things like that. And
there's so many in that one change room at the one time. It was.
We were lucky. He was a social worker.
Yeah, well, that's it. He knew how to
deal with
divide and conquer and all that.
He knew how to deal with it. So say that, you know, and like from a personal point of view, my mum passed away.
Yeah.
David was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He really was unbelievable.
It's the family aspect. I think he understands exactly what.
At that time, you know, he was incredible. So he was, you know, but he just and 99% of the watches had been more successful.
Yes.
You know, and I really wish we had won the league that year.
I was sorry, I personally, but it would have been.
I mean, you know, that's, you know, that would have been, and like, I remember the first cup final with Crusaders.
Yes.
Stephen, you scored. I was sitting up in the back, and he was standing. He just fell on his knees.
No.
You know, he was just so devastated.
I
That's
think
how much it meant to him.
I think it was just because of the fact that it shouldn't have happened.
No.
Like when I look back at the game, it should never have made it.
No.
The extra time.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
We were 1-0 up.
The game was done for 90 minutes.
Party had that chance against Johnny.
Yes.
Instead of just hitting it past him. Johnny's so far out, he's never going to get back to it.
Yeah.
He tried to go round him, and they retrieved it. You know, that would be the 2-0, end of story. What, 93rd minute?
Aye.
Roby comes
Tuffy
up
wins a flick on and Josh hits it.
It
should never have got that stage.
And then, what was it, 121 minutes when you scored? The ball just came out, and did you say, you just hit it and hope for the best? And then I rogue it, you know. And that was, I looked down at David, and he just dropped his knees. Say that. You know,
God love him. I should get that photo framed, I think.
You know, and then the next year was just a
blowout.
I think, I don't know, I think maybe deep down everybody sort of knew that was coming to an end.
Yeah.
You know, and we never turned up.
Yeah. You've done all the work to get there, and it's kind of like, right, we're done now.
You know, we just didn't turn up. You know,
and it was
and that was the end for David. You know, that was the end. And Jim came in and then said that, you know.
But one thing I have to say is that period, as you say, like you talk about the success the club had, like the League Cup.
Yeah.
The night
three finals, you know.
The night we won the League Cup.
Oh, aye.
It was like fantastic. You'd have thought we won the league.
Hey, we were in the dugout down next to Shore Road then. And, you know, so we were watching, and Eamon had the ball, you know, and David, take a corner, take it for a minute. You go, take a corner, take a corner, and I'd be, oh, what a goal! We were right behind. As soon as I hit it, we all knew that Spam was never going to get to it. That was corner. Oh, goal! But you know, it's nice that. And see Europe.
Europe was brilliant,
weren't they? Like, you know, it was incredible. It was, I say, Norway.
The mad thing was, I think at that stage is you had 95% of the team had never been to Europe.
No, oh no, that's true.
And you had
maybe 3 players, 4
Jim,
players.
Kevin Braniff, Michael Gold. I think that was it. Near enough at that stage.
That was about it. You know, the rest
and
never
it was,
been.
It was carnage. It was people flying about everywhere.
Oh, but it was like Oates was a lovely stadium and all, wasn't it? You know, and I say our night of having the meal was incredible. The
dinner was fantastic. Well, I mean,
except for Bushy,
we almost had a death, but it was a good meal. Do you know what I mean?
I heard Bushy's choked, he's choked, and the next thing, so Brian, the dog, got to him and all that, and took him to the hospital. When I said then, you come over, David. Yes, Jonathan. What can I do for you? He says, David, if Bushy doesn't make it, he says, can I play in his place some more? And by the way, Big Kyle ate the rest of his steak.
Big Kyle never straight away because we were all upset each other.
As David just turned after you said they looked at us and went, that was.
It was. Do you know what?
That was fun. That just broke the ice. You know.
It was kind of. It was one of the skirts. Like I've never seen somebody go purple before.
No.
Do you know what? I don't. For what made me get up and follow him in the toilet, I was kind of like, what's he doing? And you could tell it, and he was purple, and I was like,
scary. That really was.
There's something. So a couple of digs in the back, and a big chunk of fat came out. I was like, Bougie, you wish you'd have lost that in the North place. You know what I mean?
I take me hospital and all that. There's an
hospital was good. I went with him to make sure he was dead. I'll bury him myself. I'll get a game tomorrow.
But once again, lack of experience cost us that much.
Well, again,
please jump at goals.
But
even the third 2-0 through, Ross throws the ball out in the 93rd minute.
Yeah,
hold on to it.
Because I should have scored. I hit the post later on. I went around, tried to run the keeper, and went too far. And I'm always thinking to myself, if I had hit that earlier. And I remember Kevin Brown standing behind me, like, why did you not just pass it in the net? I'm saying, again.
But no, as I say, 3 goals, 3-0, and then they beat us again at Seaview. We were playing at Seaview, weren't they? Seaview. And then the following year, we went again.
You went there, you played.
First match was
it Molden?
No. The first match was Reykjavik, Runnavik, Faroes. We won 2-0 at home. Like, I think that's the first goals they'd scored in Europe.
Leroy Miller.
Leroy, home kid. What? Couldn't ask for better. It wasn't written in the stars. And 2-0, we went there and we drew 0-0 out there. And see the runway. Oh, Johnny, about 100 yards. Apparently, it's
small.
It's only certain pilots can fly in there and out. And that's the runway. You're sitting on the window. There's all of a sudden nothing. Just rocks and in the sea. I tell you, just that air.
Yeah.
But that was a crazy place too. Like hotel, grass in the roof, and the sheep up grazing in the roof of the hotel. But we had some great times. It was a great laugh, and it was. And then we had Malmo.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to Malmo, and so we're out, and I'm going, and David 5 minutes, 0-0. David 15 minutes, 0-0. We're still 0-0. David 30 minutes, 27 minutes. Big late, he should have scored. He slid in, and he just missed the ball that run by. And I said 30 minutes, David 0-0. 35 minutes, bang, 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 3-0. I think they beat us 6 or 7, so they did. And was it Rosler was the manager that played for City?
Yes.
He was their manager. And then they beat us 4-0 at home.
There's just nothing you can do sometimes, like sometimes you get close and sometimes you're
you have to accept. I have to accept you're going to be on team that there, and you know, that's the experience and the time
the sharpness, even the fit. You know what I mean? They're
great.
all in season at that stage,
and the kids all love it. You know, the boys all great for them too.
The experience for us to go away, I said all the time, it's one of the best experiences you can get.
Once again, David proved his worth. Got us into Europe, to the second round of Europe for the first time in their history.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I don't know where people realise just how much David did.
Yeah.
And what he achieved at Ballymena United.
No, 100%. I think it goes very unmissed. Yeah.
See, it's always, isn't it? When you start to go bad, that's all the fans know.
That's all they
care. You know, and Ballymena's not going to be a team that's going to win 10, 12, 14 matches in a trot.
Yeah.
Maybe, I think they did it once under Tommy. They won 17 games undefeated. But that's once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be a Linfield or a Glentoran or something like that there, where you're going to go maybe a whole season and lost about 2 matches. And I think that's maybe part of his, I don't know. And I think that I say David did more good for Ballymena. And there's more good times, with David than there was bad times.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Without a doubt. And and it's just sad. It happened, but this is it. You managers come and go, and it's just part and parcel of life.
Did you see that he was coming to the end?
Yes, I think I did. I think I did. You just could feel, round the club. There's,
like the atmosphere
from above,
was changing.
From above, there was, there's a
separation
sort of thing, and that was
because you had a lot of moving factors, like obviously Don Sterling passed and
the
chairman was stepping
Don's
away
there longer than I was.
Yeah.
And John stepping down, and we're going under new management and stuff, in the boardroom, and it was a really a whole new board.
Yeah.
So it was, boys like David Blair and all them, in their lifetime, they all stepped away, So it was a complete change, and then Jim came into a complete new board, and probably a board with not the experience.
Yeah, that you need.
Yeah. And Jim came in, and again, I feel sorry for Jim, because Jim was given a 3-year contract and given 3 steps.
Yeah.
First year, avoid relegation, which he did. All right, it was facing the last kick of the game, so it was,
close.
But he did it. The second year he consolidated it. He finished, was 9th or something. Mm-hmm. And the year he left, we weren't that far off the top 6. We were only maybe 3 or 4 points.
I think you were sitting 6th at that stage.
Something like that. Or close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, he should have given him I felt he should have given him a wee bit longer.
Yeah.
And probably because I'd known Jim since 2000, I've a wee soft spot for Jim, because I saw him as a kid at 17 and what he'd achieved as a player and all that. But
he also,
in company management.
I mean, he was offered a job that was pretty much in ruin. It was like
he was having to build from the bottom up.
Yeah, you're taking this on. You don't have much of a budget, and you have to survive. And
that's it.
It's always going to be difficult.
You basically have a dozen players. Mm-hmm. Just so he had to build up and get players in and things like that there. And I thought he did well. He brought in somebody. He brought Cian Corpley.
Yeah,
he's now away in Fairland. Mm-hmm. So, and some of the other players, Success and them boys,
they're all still there.
I'm still Taki. What a signing that was.
Mm-hmm.
Taki Lacallian. Unbelievable. And I honestly felt he was doing what he was asked to do. And I just felt maybe it was a wee bit premature.
Yeah.
So it was to let him go. But here, that's the boards are there for, to make decisions.
People make decisions, and sometimes it's
and that's it. And I really did feel for Jim, because it makes a decent team, and
especially that I think that last year too, especially the second year I was there, me and Ben were there, and we went on a run of like 11 games, and you're sitting very close to the top, and then everybody's expectations changed, as if to say, we've just went from relegation
0-2, aye.
and now we're sitting here and like Ballymena could kick on. But
Yeah.
when you're in those situations, you kind of know the wheels are spinning here and they're about to fall off at some stage, and this run is going to come to an end. But people had this massive expectation within a short period of time, and you were like, what has happened?
But this is the thing I feel about Ballymena is, and I'm not knocking the fans. They're brilliant. You know, I love the fans at Ballymena. I agree it. But we've never won the league.
Yeah.
We'll be 100 years next year. Or 98, sorry. And we've never won the league.
Yeah.
We've been second maybe 2 or 3 times. But we're about the only, what you call the old established clubs in the league. Linfield, Glentorns, Cliftonvilles and all that. Who have never won the league.
Yeah.
You know. So, how would I put it? Always that's the expectation, I think,
that we're going to do it.
of when they won the league. And yes, quite rightly, that's
you should.
You know,
but
that's you
most
should
people
have
have expectations whenever they're successful.
Yeah, but you have to be realistic. You know, we've never made the, as I say, the closest really where it was with David.
Yeah.
And maybe if we had
2 or 3, maybe more.
2 or 3 more Jim Irvins,
Mm-hmm.
by experience they had, we would have crossed the line that year and would have done it, but we didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a bit of a shock. It was a bit of a shock when Jim. I know we weren't maybe brilliant, but I didn't think we were doing that bad.
No.
And you know, it came as a shock when I got a phone call. He said that Jim had gone.
Yeah.
You know, he'd been released, and then Jim phoned me himself, say that, you know, and like I still call him Skipper.
Yeah, no.
You know, because
terms
he
of
was
respect.
a great supporter of mine, you know, when he was there as a player, and him and I had a great relationship. And we still do, you know, and it was.
Did he give you a pay rise?
No, he didn't get.
Nigger.
I don't like him anymore. He's the best.
He is. He's fantastic. He brought, like, as I say, one of the first conversations I had to go back, and obviously there's certain people you want to do well for, and we've played against each other, we've played with each other, and as I've said this so many times, he's one of the hardest people to play against. But he was one of the best people to have in your team.
I say, and Oren came in, and I left the week Oren came in. So Dad, probably hardest football decision in my life. And in the 29 years, Johnny, you could probably count in one hand the number of days I took off for just a day off. You know, a lot of the time, of course, international duty, yes. You know, and the Jim's last October, yes, I went on a cruise, but I had booked 3 years ago for Alison's 70th. And you know, everybody at the club knew about it.
Bertnal, you're out of holiday, mate. Don't mind.
You know, and that was the one, and the whole time I was away, there was times thinking, like, hope Mark's all right.
I need them socks done.
But well, that reminds me of a story. We used to have you talk about players and their weird things that they do.
Okay.
We had a boy at Ballymena one time who had to have a new pair of socks every match because he had dodgy legs.
Right.
He had itches in his legs. And look at you're sitting there as if you don't know who it is.
It wasn't socks.
It was socks.
It wasn't socks.
It was.
It wasn't.
For our listeners to say to me up.
Don't, like, you can't portray this to say it's me, right?
Johnny,
without giving full context of what you're talking about.
Well, you had.
I have bad shite skin.
Aye.
So for anybody that doesn't know, sometimes they'll see me in here, and I'm as red as the lights at the background because of eczema flare-ups.
I nearly forgot about it.
You must have put, I don't know, acid in the detergent, because I came out covered. And I was like scratching away, and you were like, "Fuck!" But I made you change.
I was just saying, you make sure you have a new pair of socks for Johnny.
It's because the fabric was so tight.
Oh, was it?
But yes, over that period of time, I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
It could have been puberty at 24.
It could have been. But no, I say there's some great, wasn't there? Some great.
We had fun.
But I say if I'd been a footballer, Johnny, I might not be sitting here today.
Yeah.
Because once I stopped playing, I'd been it.
Yeah.
But, you know, and it's there for anybody. Some kid that doesn't play football. Get involved and you never know where
you don't know where you slot in. People might slot in as a referee,
as
a kit man, a coach, whatever it is, but there's opportunities.
And I don't know what I'd have done at times without the football.
Yeah.
Really, through some It was shit times.
Okay.
You know, like, my wife was diagnosed with cancer at 27.
Right.
And I had 2 boys, 3 years and 7 months, an hour and 7 months. We were both 27 years of age.
Okay.
You know, and she battled cancer for the next 22 years and died in 2002. But the football family were brilliant. Like, you know, like, I left Linfield in 96 and Liz died in September 2002. And I got a lovely card from Linfield Football Club
Okay.
at her death. And at Christmas, I got another lovely card from Linfield Football. Professionalism.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd been there for 6 years. You know.
And you're only there for...
I'd only been there for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, you know, that's just the way they treat you. And like, they were telling us as well, my wife's last couple of 3 years, they, you know, we chemo and all that. And, well, I don't have to worry about it. Most of the people around here know me and know all about me, my background. Both my boys were heroin addicts. So they were.
Right.
The oldest boy, we had him arrested.
Okay.
In jail for stealing from us and stuff like that there. And like, I remember one story, I come home one night from training and I came in, I parked the car and I opened the door and I could hear voices in the sitting room, and I opened the door and Neil was sitting there and he was having a conversation with his cousin, Roger. But Roger lived in Southampton at that time. He was having this 2-way conversation on his own. And I went over and sat opposite him, said that, and he didn't know I was there. And I looked at him a minute or two and I'm thinking, son, your mother's up in there in bed, fighting to stay alive, and you're down here fighting to kill yourself.
Yeah.
And I buried my head, I bent down and I prayed. And I asked God to take him. Said that. I said, no more pain, no more suffering. Said that. I never thought I'd do something like that, Johnny. And I sat a minute or two and I got up and I said to him, come on, son, let's go to bed. And I helped him up the stairs in his room and undressed him and put him in bed. Went to the bathroom and came into the bedroom. And Liz was lying there in bed, and like, no hair, nothing, like. And she was young, she had long strawberry blonde hair. And, you know, and in the middle of the chemo, I went down and sat on the side of the bed. And I sat a minute or two, and I put the head down again, and I says, God, see that conversation we had, so can we forget it? Well, look after him, you know. And about 6 months later, Liz died. She died. So I was left there, you know, 49 years of age, 2 boys, 26, 23, both heroin addicts, not contributing, doing nothing in the house, sitting there all day, just out of it. The heating turned up full. I was coming home from work at 4 o'clock from Michelin, and on a Tuesday and Thursday I was heading to training to give me a bit of relief. I went on a Friday, Johnny, and got the groceries, put them away, and by Monday they were all gone. I had them just sat there. No, didn't contribute to the house, no money in, and I was slowly sinking. I got to a stage where I was going to put the house in the market. I was like, I went to the ATM one day to lift a tenner, and I rejected it. Insufficient funds. I was clean, you know, by groceries and having to buy more groceries 2 or 3 days a week, and petrol in the car and all the rest, and paying off a car. And I said it was just my wage coming in at that time out of Michelin, and I was, you know, I saw nights out in the bedroom, I just slid down the wall, you know, sat there for hours, didn't know where they were, hadn't a clue what they were doing or what they were up to or nothing, and I thought, this is it, I'm going to end up beside Liz, and I think I would have, only one night Joe was still at Ballymena, and Joe says to me, we're going out tonight, or out on Saturday night, you want to come out with, we're going to the country round for a meal. I said, aye, dead on, no problem. So him and Ballymena come up to collect me, and I come out to this woman, and like, and I found out it was her daughter, was in the car with them. And then it just hits Bertnal Mrs. Allison and her daughter Caroline. And actually I met Allison. And she saved me. She said, "That's Johnny." She saved me. I didn't know that night that anything was going to happen with it. But I rang her and we got in touch and we kept and that and she came into my life. And for months till I got my life back together again. Not only was she looking after her and Caroline and Mark, her son, she was looking after us. She was paying for 2 houses, food and everything, and I never thought it happened to me again, but I'm telling you, she's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
She really is, and I don't know the hell I'd do without her. I love her bits. But it was always a terrible time with the boys, and and I moved down to Henry McGee with Alison, and the boys have their own flats and all now. And Neil's clean. He has a son. Well, he had 2 sons. He had Jade and he had Bradley. Bradley plays for Southside Rangers, and he used to be at Ballymena. And Lee has a daughter, Grace. And but I'd say I'd need him that out for his birthday, his 50th to Tullyglass, and we're going all right. But it's a bit of a strained relationship because of they don't work and they haven't worked over 20 years, Johnny. And Liz worked when she could. Liz wasn't in chemo, and she worked for a man and woman, Tommy Mary Downey, and he was builder, and they were fantastic to her. They never once said to her, Liz, we can't go on. But if she was off for weeks, that was it. There was nothing, and when she could work, she worked.
Yeah.
And they were brilliant, a lovely couple. And Tommy died about 6 months before Liz. He had a silent heart attack or something. He died in February and Liz died in September. So Mary the Creator's, she lost 2 people.
Yeah.
She did. But no, it's, I say football saved my life. And that's part of the hurt now, it's not there for me.
Yeah.
But thank goodness I don't have anything to worry me.
Yes.
I'm very lucky. I have a stepson and a stepdaughter who are fantastic. And between them there's Mark has 2 boys, Caroline's a boy and a girl, and Ivy's oldest is at 5, and Charlie's the youngest that just won there. And we had a month ago we had a party in July. It was Tom had turned 1. Charlie had turned 1, Tom turned 3, and Bradley had turned 27. So I had them all down, and Bradley had his wee girl with my granddaughter, and we had a great day.
Yeah.
So we had, and and so I'm very lucky to have the second family I have.
Yeah.
I couldn't do without them. They're unbelievable. Alison especially, she's been incredible. How the hell she's love it? She deserves a medal. She does. Not many people would come on board.
Take on the
somebody
shit.
take on the shit.
Yeah.
But she didn't. That's a bit about it. She didn't take the shit. The first thing she did, she took my card off me. So she did. And then if the boys wanted to see the company, needed money, needed money, and I could feel I was always giving it to, because I was always worried, Johnny. Paramilitaries and things. You don't know. You're worried that if they owe a lot of money and stuff like that. I paid out money at times that I didn't have. We had to go and borrow money, of the bank and of family, to pay debts. In that early, and it's and it was absolutely crazy. It was a crazy time, and I say football kept me. 2 hours on a Tuesday and Thursday night, and the 4 hours on a Saturday, 4 or 5 hours on a Saturday. That just brought me back down to earth, and helped me. Took me away from the crazy world that we're in, and it was, and Ballymena were fantastic to me. Mm-hmm. They really were. At the end of my last night, I was going to call it the hospital, and I was only in the hospital a week at a time. The first time I got the phone call to say, could I go up right away? We were outside the showgrounds, and I had my car loaded, and we were playing Amafari. and Nigel Boyd was travelling with me, and I got the phone call, and I said, Nigel, I have to rush to the hospital now. He says, right, throw everything into my car, and everything's tossed into his car, and he took it, you know, and I was away for a week. You know, I spent the week in the hospital, and he gave me a wee room with a bed in it. You know, and it was the same last week. It was the same. I called up, and you know, and I was in the football club. Never once, you know, said to me, "Look, Bertnal, you know, hey, there's nobody here in training nights. We're having to do it all." Never once was that ever, you know, said to me. They were brilliant. And I remember we used to go down when Kenny was there. We'd went and played Ballymena United, you know, in a pre-season, and we stayed in Irvinstown, and Robert Couples was the chairman. Brilliant man, Robert. Really is. He'd done an awful lot to see if our club from going to the wall. So he did. And I mean, we're down up the street in Irvinstown, and he says, "Listen now," he says, "if you get a phone call and you need to leave here," he says, "you get a taxi and take it." He says, "Don't worry about the price, don't worry about anything. If it has to take you to Belfast, it takes you to Belfast.
Yeah.
And don't you worry about anything, the club will look after that. You're always an important thing, you know."
Yeah.
And I always, you know, that's
by
the
you.
same of things, you know. And that's where the football family comes in, Johnny. It really does, you know. And part of me really, really, really misses it.
Mm-hmm.
The players, and like Ronnie and Chris, and especially Mark, you know, like, and that I really do miss the fun and the joking and all that and training. Like, you know yourself, it was like it was brilliant. So it was, and you know, and I met some fantastic people, both players, backroom staff, managers, and everything. You know, like I've been very lucky, and some chairmen. You know, over the years I've met, you know, some brilliant people and fans.
Yeah.
You know, the fans of Ballymena, I can never say a word against them. They're you know, they're great people. So they are, but most of it's just things move, and just you move on. And
do you have a slight regret for going through with it?
yes, part of me, yes. I would love to have been two. I'd love to have been one, being there with Oran.
Yeah.
I really would love to have been there with Oran. You know, say, and two, yes, it would be nice to go to November this year and said 30.
Yeah. 100%.
Not for. Yes, it's nice to get 30 years, but I wasn't going to. You know, to me, it wasn't wanting to be a big razzmatazz, and you know.
I would be expecting the big 30 balloon and all.
Well,
all that sort of jazz, fireworks and all.
No, but you know, I wasn't expecting the club to go out on a limb and make this a big, massive, you know.
Do you not usually get like a Rolex at 30 years?
Cartier or something like that there. Where's your nearest pawn shop? Right down the street.
Straight in. Returns, get the receipt.
Oh no, well, let's see. No, there's some good laughs along the way, so I had, you know. It's another chapter, and you know,
it opens your mind up to other things that you haven't been able to do. The freedom that you get without it.
I say,
because you're structured pretty much. You've always been, your Saturday from...
No, Ivy and Ollie now are learning to swim.
Yes.
He's 5, he's 3. So, they're 4. He can learn on a Saturday morning, and we take them in.
And you wouldn't have been able to do that before?
Well, I've been sitting, it's time for me to go yet, I need to go.
Yes, you're bored.
And we go back, and I also have the situation now. I've Carrick's at home, 4 miles up the road. I've Larns at home, 6 miles up the road. I go there.
Yeah. You're not stagnated to go you can go wherever you want.
And even if Ballymena's at home and I feel like going to LM2, I'll go there, you know, or I'll go to Ballymena, you know.
And you still go to the games? You were there last night?
No, I wasn't there last night. No, I just watched it on iPad last night, so I did. Because, well,
that's another thing. You have the comfort of your own home with heating on.
Not only that, but maybe been 11 o'clock or half 11 before I'd been home last night and then up again this morning.
Yes.
You know, so I thought,
I
saw an iPlayer.
You thought I'm
Johnny's more important.
100%.
You know,
I appreciate
Johnny's more important.
I appreciate it.
But after all, you measling through the yes. Yeah.
Well, you would be my kit man right now.
No, but as I say, and you know, I'm not sitting there on a Saturday or even Tuesday and Thursday night, come about 3 o'clock, sit and go, Right, it's 10 miles away, get everything left out before they get in.
Yeah.
The ice baths started and all that. Whereas now I don't. And on Saturday I say, I'm sitting there, I'll be sitting at 1 o'clock and felt great,
What can I do now? I've got a wee bit of time. I'll go here, I'll go there.
Or if Alison wants to go somewhere, we'll go. And that's it. And the grandkids come up in there. Well, Mark lives just that's across the lane from us. We built the bungalow and he's built his house there. So all they'll come down and over, say, well, tap the window, Nini, Papa. You come in and
do something, yeah.
Maybe Mark or Alex will come over with Charlie. He can't walk yet.
Yeah.
And her face is just, just getting this big smile a minute to see you.
Yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it? That's what it's all about,
There's more to life than football.
Okay,
but it's nice to have it, isn't it?
It's I'm really happy.
Good.
It's a big part of my life, Johnny. So it was, and I say, probably part of me wishes.
You're still sort of.
But that I wasn't able to play football.
Yeah.
I only got that game as a sub.
You were one and done.
My one and only game. Like I said, I'd probably direct. So maybe the brother.
That's it.
But yes. It's just life's what it is, Johnny, and I'll just take it as it comes along.
Good. Well, don't be taking any more stress on. And you can always phone me whenever you want.
I know that.
For a wee conversation.
I definitely do. I know that. And you bad company, but we. Alan Kurt.
It's hard coming in here sometimes.
I don't say anything, in case he hears us.
If you can cut this bit out. But no, listen, here we'll probably end on that. But I find it quite strange sometimes when you sit here, people,
and you don't.
You don't.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
No, that's it. I know. The boy says nobody knows what goes on. Behind the scenes, behind the closed doors.
The mask.
That's it,
It's a pity my mask's great, Bertnal. You know what I mean? Sometimes, some good looking mask when you get rid of that moustache sometimes, But sometimes people, sometimes you actually don't know the actual person, but...
Well, that's it.
You learn something new every day, and I've learned a lot about you in this 2 hours now, along with probably an hour. 2,500 people listened to it. They probably know you a bit better too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me as a guest. Really,
it was just a matter of when. You had spoke about it at the start, actually.
We did.
You were on a list of people who I wanted, and it was just a matter of getting to it.
Alan's even at me last season about it. We have you on the list.
He's a gangster, that fella. Don't listen to him. But listen, we finish on hugs.
I'll do mate. No, I've told him more than welcome. I'm okay, thank you. Thank you for having me. Okay. Oops.
Jesus, that was. I'm looking at you in there, you're. Jesus. Bertnal, thank you.
Not at all, Johnny.
Don't know how you close this one out, but folks. See you next week.